And they asked me last night, how does law enforcement view this? Law enforcement would view it very, very skeptically because of the passage of time. Law enforcement would view it very, very skeptically.
35 years.
35 years. So all statutes of limitations, civil and criminal, both statutes of limitations have obviously expired.
Professor Christine Blasey Ford, who alleges that he attempted to rape her.
And it's pretty obvious this is all about delaying the process.
When he was 17 years old. Professor Blasey will not testify on this matter.
Is there any corroborating witness? So far, the answer is no. In fact, the only other person named in the accusation says it never happened. And given what we know of the accuser's political inclination and her support of left-wing causes, she has a political axe to grind.
What do you make of the fact that Dianne Feinstein is saying, I'm not sure I believe Christine Ford now?
I mean, that's the direction it's going. The Democrats had a sole purpose, right? They wanted to delay and defeat this nominee at all costs. I think what started breaking down is the Democratic story. Here to somebody.
The woman's story?
Well, we're going to hear it out. Yeah. But, 36 years ago, and from what I read, she can't tell you where it was, how she got there, how she left. I don't know that anybody can really remember 36 years ago, and she didn't tell anybody at the time. Not a friend, not a family member, not anybody.
Does anyone actually believe this nonsense? Of course not, because it's ridiculous. It's also divisive and crazy.
She doesn't really recall how she got to the party. She doesn't recall the house that the thrown in, and she doesn't recall how she got home from the party. She's a little fuzzy about the people that were there at the time, and there was some discrepancy with the notes that her therapist took. And she admits that she was drinking.
Right. So it has to be reported when it happens.
And they continue to say point blank, look, this is not something the FBI is involved with. The FBI doesn't want to be involved in this. We are going to have these hearings on Monday. Your client, would she show up?
She will talk with the committee. She's not prepared to with them at a hearing.
So point blank, if there's not an investigation between now and then, she would not appear on Monday in a public hearing.
No investigation any legitimate investigation is going to happen between now and Monday. There's no reason to do that.
So you're saying even if they say the FBI will investigate and begins an investigation, you're saying Monday there's no way your client would sit down in front of a hearing even if the FBI said, okay, well, we've looked into it?
It's premature to talk about a hearing.
I mean, I don't want to put any words in your mouth, but I do just want to try to drill down this and be as clear as possible. Even if the FBI agrees to investigate, you're saying a proper investigation can't be done before Monday, concluded before Monday. So, and even if the FBI says they will investigate, or if the chairman says the FBI won't investigate, you're saying your client will not sit down Monday for a public hearing.
There's no reason that we should have a public hearing on Monday, given what has occurred and when it has occurred.
If the hearings on Monday were not public, would that make a difference in her willingness to sit down and appear before the committee?
No, again, it's premature.
What do you make of the fact that Dianne Feinstein is saying, I'm not sure I believe Christine Ford now?
Not only do women like Dr. Ford, who bravely comes forward, need to be heard, not only do women like Dr. Ford, who bravely comes forward, need to be heard, but they need to be believed. Guess who's perpetuating all of these kinds of actions? It's the men in this country. And I just want to say to the men in this country, just shut up and step up. Do the right thing for a change.
Did you catch that? It's not just Brett Kavanaugh who's guilty. It's, quote, the men of this country, every single one of them. Democrats explained today there is nothing Brett Kavanaugh could do to prove his innocence. Senator Tim Kaine of Virginia, for example, was asked how exactly Kavanaugh might clear his name. The senator's reply, quote, that's kind of very hypothetical. I've never seen this city crazier or more paranoid or more tense or more dumb. Here's an example. 3 years ago, Brett Kavanaugh made what was obviously a joke about his time in high school. Here it is.
Fortunately, we had a good saying that we've held firm to this day, as the dean was reminding me before the talk, which is what happens at Georgetown Prep stays at Georgetown Prep.
It was a joke, and it's clearly irrelevant to what we're talking about.
Brett Kavanaugh talking about this video that's been unearthed by our team.
Which is what happens at Georgetown Prep stays at Georgetown Prep.
It does speak to this notion that perhaps there are portions of his childhood that he would rather not come to light.
What happens at Georgetown Prep stays at Georgetown.
There are portions of his childhood that he would rather not come to light.
Does anyone actually believe this nonsense? Of course not, because it's ridiculous. It's also divisive and crazy.